Bless up, y'all. This is King Kevin reporting again live from my headquarters. Now, the kidnappings in Haiti, that is no way, no how good for Haiti. This is what's about to happen. The U.S. is going to invade Haiti again. Very similar to what they did during the 1915 to 1934 occupation of Haiti, where they colonized Haiti, where the U.S. can do whatever, however, whenever they want to do on the Caribbean island. Since 2020 of last year, there were 220 kidnappings last year alone. This year, in 2021, they already had 328 kidnappings up to the month of August, according to CNBC. Now, with that being said, Haiti is already, ripe for starting all over, right? Just went through an earthquake, just had a president assassinated, and now our people, our Haitian people, are struggling to make ends meet, even more now than ever. So there's really no playtime in Haiti as we speak. The kidnapping of the 17 people, according to reports, it's like, a few children, about 15 missionaries, a couple of citizens from Canada, most of them American citizens. This is going to lead to the U.S. Army invading in Haiti, taking over the country, annexing the country, and creating a slave population, because the U.S. is going to need a new slave population. African Americans are no longer the slave population here in the United States. So many of us are indispensable, if you really think about it, especially African American men here in America. And soon to come, with everything going on with China and international trade and business and the amount of money Haiti is worth, which is billions of dollars, according to the gold, iridium, oil, and natural minerals of the land, not to mention it's one of the most fertile lands in all of the Caribbean, they're going to take over. They're going to enslave the people, just like they did during the 1915 occupation that ended in 1934, which resulted in the U.S. Stealing 500,000 gold francs from the Haitian treasury, which was money that was to be used to build a strong economy, build paved roads, banks, schools, hospitals, emergency care, education. And that wasn't the case. So now we're looking at years compounded together of international foreign interests, mainly the main culprits, U.S. government, the Canadian government, and the French government. Well, Canada and French are one and the same. And now we're looking at the end result. We're looking at complete chaos. Haiti has become a failed state, far from its glorious days, its classical days, during the late 1700s, early 1800s, to now to what we see. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit aside and allow Haiti to be pillaged and to destroy itself? One of the most glorious countries in the Western Hemisphere, one of the greatest histories of all time, the first and only country to revolt from slavery and create its own state. Only time it's ever happened in world history. Only time that a small country of enslaved Africans, put the oppressors on top of their heads and sometimes cutting their heads and taking over the country to create their own, because they refused to be enslaved. That pride, that the glorious history led by the forefathers and mothers of the Haitian Revolution, General Toussaint Louverture, Suzanne Belair, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, King Henry Christophe. These individuals set the world on fire because they gave the black population hope worldwide. They freed everyone. literally was taking the fight to the slave ports of Africa. Literally, Toussaint was leading his top 1,000 soldiers to Africa to fight the Europeans, which are Spain, French, Portuguese, the British, to fight them on the slave ports of Africa to stop the slave trade. Today in 2021, October 2021, Haiti is a complete different nation. You know, it went from once a beacon of hope, trumping the United States, quote unquote, home of the free, because Haiti was the original home of the free. You know, if you were able to make it to Haiti, you were freed, literally freed, no matter what plantation you came from. As a matter of fact, General Toussaint and Jean Dessalines went as far as buying enslaved Africans using French slave buyers who pretended to be slave buyers to buy boatloads of enslaved Africans in the U.S. and Jamaica, Trinidad, buying them and freeing them in Haiti. You know, that's why Haiti became known as land of the free. As a matter of fact, many African Americans dreamed of escaping and coming to Haiti. And matter of fact, many did. Now, are we going to ask the question again? Are we going to allow Haiti to repeat, allow the U.S. to repeat what they did in Haiti during the 1950-1934 occupation, invasion, where they enslaved the Haitian people to work on the fields, to work to build roads and schools? Well, I don't know about the schools part, but definitely to work to build buildings, definitely the train tracks, so that the U.S. can easily transport the goods that they were stealing and robbing from the country to the U.S. Embassy, which now today is the fourth largest embassy, U.S. embassy in the world, and the biggest, by far, most expensive embassy in the Western Hemisphere, located in Port-au-Prince. Now, for those who are wondering did these kidnappings take place, that took place in Port-au-Prince. Took place in Port-au-Prince, and no one knows where they are. Supposedly, one of the missionaries, they were there on missionary work, had placed a text on WhatsApp asking for help. Now, just be prepared, everyone, for the invasion of Haiti. This is going to be a much larger invasion. Now that we have phones and everyone's a journalist and reporter, they're going to be watching and preparing for the U.S. Army. It's probably going to send a few thousand to occupy the nation, stabilize it, and bring peace and order. And whenever the U.S. talks about peace and order and bringing democracy to the land, they mean imposing their will, and really, it's gonna come with a lot of lives. It's a politically correct way to say we're about to take over. You guys better lay down or get rolled over. It's not gonna be peaceful. It's gonna be some deaths. The gangs of Haiti are extremely violent. They're extremely powerful. They seem to be a lot more organized than I thought. And which reminds me, who's really in charge here? Who's really in charge behind all these kidnappings? I'm talking about it's a booming industry. I have actually a relative of mine, a cousin of mine, who's also doing kidnappings in Haiti. And I always told him, carjacks and kidnappings, why are you doing that? Why don't you stop? This is making the country look bad. You're a strong leader. Why don't you just become a leader to stop the kidnappings, and you can find money doing it that way, working for the government, working for the local community? Because it's not just this, Americans get kidnapped, that never happens in Haiti. Let me tell you, that really happens. They know you, Americans, especially white Americans, are not going to kidnap you because they're afraid of the U.S. government. But now with this chess move, they're showing they don't care. They don't care about the American government. Supposedly they're going to be holding ransoms for millions of dollars for these 17 people, and the U.S. government is going to pay it. Well, as you know, U.S. has this policy, international policy, or terrorism policy, that they do not negotiate with terrorists. So I guess the U.S. is going to have to negotiate with themselves, because the U.S. have been terrorists, not just in Haiti. There have been terrorists all over the world, especially in the African diaspora, because the U.S. has placed its tentacles all over the world. Almost every single country, probably 50% of the countries in the world, has a U.S. embassy, and many of them have a U.S. Army based there, who just impose themselves and get into other foreign interests for their financial interests. So let's let's stay tuned. Let's see what happens. I'll be keeping this, playing this very closely for the next couple of months and weeks, and watching this pretty closely, because actually I was supposed to be going to Haiti in December, possibly early January, for missionary work. So now, as we're raising funds to help the people of Haiti, now the people who are already scared to go to Haiti will not be going to Haiti. And even me being Haitian, I'm not scared to go to Haiti. I have family there. As I said, some of my family are gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Some just hold it down, family men, but they're going to hold their own. So I'm not feared for my safety, because, I'm riding with some real riders, I just hope that this doesn't stop, people from supporting the people who are brave enough to go to Haiti, brave enough to do the work, to feed the children, to educate them during a time like this, because Haiti has gone through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Some of it self-inflicted, of course, but let's not forget, most of the behavior, the failed state, the chaos was heavily created by the United States and the French, because French obviously crippled Haiti since that 1825 indemnity slave tax, the indemnity slave tax that they created, that took Haiti over 100 years to pay off. You know what I'm saying? $150 million they had to pay France because they fought for their freedom. It was reduced to $90 million, which is equivalent to $122 billion today. Now, stay tuned. My name is King Kevin Dorival, and let's pray for Haiti. My website is kevindorival.com, KEVINDORIVAL.com, Instagram, Twitter, @Courage to Believe. And I'm still going to be doing work, missionary work in Haiti, from Atlanta to Haiti, and back and forth. The Courage to Believe International is our name of our nonprofit. We are a 501c3. Donations are tax exempt. We're still going to be doing the work, because at the end of the day, the mission is the children, the future of the children of Haiti. We take care of the children. We have taken care of the future of Haiti. We need to create thinkers, builders, engineers. They already have the intelligence. The energy just needs to be directed in a particular way, for the resources of books, schools, and caring individuals. Anyway, y'all be blessed.